Welland, also called the Rose City, is nestled in the heart of Niagara in southern Ontario. Situated along the famous Welland Canal, it connects Lake Ontario and Erie. First settled in 1788, Welland became a city in 1917. The extensive waterways and parks are a recreational dream come true. It's no wonder a great number of pro athletes hail from the Rose City. Its motto, "Where rails and water meet," these two factors contributed to the development of heavy industry, and by the 1930s, Welland was an important industry leader in the region. Time and again, Welland's residents have joined together and fostered pride in their community through many events, such as raising money to build a war memorial during the Depression. Ahead is a unique variety of designated heritage properties that add to the rich cultural legacy of Welland. One of the most recognizable landmarks in Welland, this vertical lift bridge rises to a height of 170 feet. It's one of two structures in Welland built almost entirely by members of the First Nation. The original owner, Dr. Alfred Burns, was one of the first physicians to set up shop in the area. This street was named after the original owner's wife, Catherine Stoner. This Italianate house with arched openings and a first-floor bay window was constructed with red brick from the nearby Hooker Brickyard. This home was constructed in 3 phases, the first being built in the Italianate style. The original owner, Thaddeus Hooker, started a brickyard which produced much of the brick used in Welland's commercial and residential structures. Designed by George Ross, St Andrews exhibits characteristics of both the Norman and Italianate styles of architecture. Designed by Elizabeth Winwood, who studied under some of the Group of 7 artists, it depicts a soldier and a woman gathering wheat to symbolize those who fought and those who served at home. It was built for Scottish-born William Thomson, who also built the flour mill on the Welland River. This Italianate brick house has additional decoration and coloured glass in the east bay window. One of the earliest brick houses built in Welland, it was home to Thomas Lordbox, who served as bridge tender during the 1860s. The courthouse is an extremely important architectural link to Welland's past. In 1913, a fire swept through it due to faulty electrical wiring. It was designed in a Palladian style and built with Queenston limestone. Convicted felons were hung in the jail yard until early in the 20th century. Lawrence constructed his house with a variety of techniques, showcasing his skill as a cabinet maker. The gingerbread house is an excellent example of the highly ornamental late Victorian style. This house was built in an Edwardian classical style with lavish interior finishing, characteristic of the late Victorian era. The first postmaster for the village of Welland was an owner of the property. Originally constructed for famed inventor Charles MacArthur, the house was extensively rebuilt in the newer Edwardian classical Queen Anne styling around 1906. The 50-foot tower used to dry hoses features a four-faced clock. The Welland Farmers Market has been centrally located on the present site since 1907. This red brick T-shaped house was built in the Italianate style. The original owner, Richard Morwood, was a prosperous merchant who was elected mayor of the town of Welland 4 times. This Norman-style church had 2 disastrous fires which demolished it, leaving only the bell tower and foundation walls. It was rebuilt to reflect the style and character of the original structure. The Welland Public Library is one of the oldest continuously operating institutions in Welland. The building, which now houses the museum, was funded by one of the richest men in the world at the time, Andrew Carnegie. This house shows strong influences of the prairie style of architecture, made popular by Frank Lloyd Wright. Built in the Romanesque Revival style, this church offered services to the Italian community in their native tongue for close to a century. This small one-storey assembly hall was the focal point of the political, social and cultural life for many of Welland's Ukrainians. Streets in the area are named after family members of the original owners. The preservation of Welland's irreplaceable heritage properties make us richer as a community by giving us a glimpse of the past, its customs and values, which helps to shape who we are today and who we aspire to be in the future.